right, also if you check them very clearly, you go notice to say, as I talk to you so now, 1 minute don't come out from where 8 o'clock sit down put. You go remember, say I tell you categorically, explicitly, clearly, and graciously, consciously say on the other side of 8 o'clock, it go be time for the big talk. That's time for the big talk. Go. Now be this time where we don't enter. So, in case you just join us, Citizen FM 93.7 for Abuja. Now here we day. Check them out. www.citizenfm.ng. We did the website there. Listen to us from there, and of course read the news. Everything day there. Sharply, make I just tell you quickly. We go talk about something very important. All right, we'll go talk about something. But before we come to that one, if you still check us out for YouTube, there, Citizen FM 937 for YouTube, as you take the beat. Today, not number 29 day for inside of March 20 plus 23, not 2023. They call me the chief priest. EZEMMUO one oracle of the citizens. I balance well for here, and the big talk with this one. Yeah, so make we dive inside of the matter. All right, no time to check any time. Make we dive inside of the matter. Now, quickly, hello, now David, they see caller message. When I don't sign out, and then caller they send message. After I don't sign out. Caller go come back to that your message, but I been done the sign out now. You send them by 7:54. That was almost Saturday. I did the bus stop when you sent that message. Now, quickly, today will be the number 23 day for inside. 29 day for inside of the month of March 1952, not the best day of Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president-elect, the APC presidential candidate, and of course the before governor of Lagos State, before governor of Lagos State 1999 to 2007, senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1992 to 1993, one of the leading founders of the Action Congress of Nigeria, would be ACN. In fact, now the founder of ACN will come collapse or merge, take from APC. So, and that was scoff. And somebody will be say it is very influential for Nigerian politics and for Southwest and by extension the whole of Nigeria. And the influence is show somehow. Is show for inside of the elections where people will just happen as you take the B. I'm not gonna lie you based on how the bill. Today will be 29 March 1950, 29th of March 1952 actually, I'm being date of birth, and today in turn 71 years old. Today so. Now you know say every birthday in the commemorate and with colloquium, but this year on in talk, so you know what thing go happen. Make we pray. Now prayer, we go pray. So all of those things we go check them, but beyond the prayer, many things today, the head or the neck or the shoulder of this senior man. Many things today in neck, in head or in shoulder, many responsibilities. All eyes they in body. And the way people they look. Remember, say for newspaper review, I tell you, say I go like to know who go be if you. So based on that one, we go want to know who go be the transport minister, who go be the petroleum minister, we want to know who go make up the cabinet of the president-elect. Who we know say in gets human resources, in gets rich human resources, but we want to know how in go take use those resources, who could make up the cabinet, and then how it go take be. Now, you don't really talk say character, competence, all of those things go be some things them when in go look. Now some of the things that when in go look before in go pick person. But all of those things we go check them out. This one on the big talk, we they look how the president-elect go take assemble or waiting in supposed do in assembling a solid cabinet to handle the problems we they face the country. And today, so now I get the one and only solid human being, Safil, aka Philemon Ajekuko, or Philemon Ajekuko, actually, I be named. Solid human being, public affair analyst, economist, Sabi Bros. He there with us live on top of the telephone. Morning, Safil. Hello. Safil, you hear me there? All right, make a try. Okay, you hear me? Make a try call her back. Something don't go on there. In the hear me actually. So Safil, are you there? You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I can hear you. Hello? Okay. Well, we will try to put them on call so that we could talk about some of these things based on how it be. Safil, welcome back. You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Clearly, loud and clear.
Okay, sorry about that. I think there was some interference from somewhere.
Yes. No problem. We there on ground. Safil, you don't welcome. And at the big talk with this one, we want torchlight. We want put torchlight on top of the president-elect. By the way, happy birthday to the president-elect. Today is birthday, so happy birthday to the president-elect, Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Happy birthday, it's the 71st birthday. But today will be birthday. He say he want pray for the nation. Make we pray for the nation instead of to do in normal colloquium. Make we even start from that one this morning. How you see that one? Because we want to look in cabinet. We want to take a look at in cabinet. Before we get to that point, what do you feel about the idea of to pray for the country instead of the colloquium?
Well, I did a little bit uncomfortable when people they talk about prayer, and the reason is straightforward. We are a country of prayer warriors, but then look at where the prayer has gotten us. That's where we are at the moment. Even the Bible say prayer is not enough. I think you mentioned it in part of your newspaper review this morning, that when you pray, you should walk. Here in Nigeria, we pray too much, we walk very little. That is why somebody will not get anything. They pray, say, making buy a house for Maitama and Asokoro, because pastor talk say make it claim something, but it's not a work like that.
Men no claim person. Men no claim person. Oh no, men no arrest.
You know they sell okra to go claim a house for Aso Villa or for Aso for Maitama. That is what people they call wishful thinking. But there is wishful thinking and there is reality. And reality is like death. It's like sunrise. It's something that must hit you one day or the other. So we have prayed too much. We have been devoted to religion too much. I have not seen the effect of prayer and our devotion to religion in our national life. And that is a sad commentary. And yet, it is something we should begin to think about very seriously, how we move this country forward with a lot more work and commitment to nation building than just praying.
All right, a lot more work and commitment to nation building. I like how you take constructor. Normally, English, they flow from your mouth normally. So you say commitment to nation building. I like that one. Now, that commitment to nation building, they inspire us. We say, this nation now, where we want to rebuild or we want to rearrange with, make we see how the things they be now. The president-elect need to work with a team. He need to work with a cabinet, ministers, heading different ministries. We see some of the challenges we'll get there for different ministries. For Ministry of Transportation, for instance, railway. Yes, they make some progress for railway, but we see accidents, kidnaps, and all of that. All of the ministries get the good sides and their downsides. Who go fit to man these ministries for the new president-elect? But I want to make we talk about what he need to look out for. What should he look out for in picking in men? Making just picking guys, because we know saying get human resources in abundance, and they talk about competent people then they. So what he going to look out for in picking people?
Interestingly, I just finished reading a book on the first term of President Bill Clinton, and there was something that one of his advisors told him, that Mr. President, don't bring your friends from Arkansas, and it struck me. It struck me because you, as a president-elect, for instance, you have people who have been around him for years, right? And he also has people who work very, very hard to ensure that he became victorious at the election. But when you get to the point of being declared as president-elect and you get to the point of being sworn in, there's a game change. It's just like when match don't enter injury time. There's a way the coach needs to drive the process in order to ensure that if the team is winning, it doesn't lose, and if the team is losing, it finds a way to recover. Now, in Nigeria, it is even very difficult to understand how the process works, and I say this because we're not the right books. We're not the right books. People went to take government, and I find that very, very irritating. They don't write books about their own experience in government.
To document their story for lessons.
Document their story, their lesson. Let me tell you another thing that happened during Obama's era. The chief of staff is the key to the presidency. So what happened? There was an advisor to Obama who said, before we even begin, call all the previous chief of staff. Make them come advise this man now when you don't appoint as your chief of staff. So they came and they shared their experience in history. The book is called The Gatekeepers. How chief of staff alone, that's one person, can affect the efficiency or non-efficiency of a president. Why is that? Because he is the one, you call his chief of staff. He is the chief of all the staff in the villa. He is the one who controls traffic into the villa. He's the one who decides who sees the president and who does not see the president. So when, for instance, you have a president, that is why the president-elect, to kick off his administration, must first pay attention to the people inside the villa. Who is going to be with him in the villa? The chief of staff, secretary of state. Who are these people? Because once he gets those appointments wrong, my brother, forget it all. If you like, appoint a superstar minister, you cannot and you will not be able to function. So for me, the first thing he needs to sit down to decide is who will be with him inside the villa. Who will run the what we call the kitchen cabinet. Now that one, he has full control. The Constitution does not say who you should appoint. So it is wholly within your realm of discretion to appoint your kitchen cabinet. So now, once you are able to do that effectively, then you can start moving. There are other two classes of people you should also think about in that kitchen cabinet. Your political advisors and your economic advisors.
Political and economic advisors.
Yes, for your political and economic advisor, because governance is about the two things. It's about the economy, it's about the politics. And you know that those two things, they be like petrol and gas. When they mix, it's not be here. It's very, very combustible when those two meet and mix. So, what kind of human being do we have as political advisors? What kind of human being do we have as economic advisors? We don't know how that works in Nigeria. We know, for instance, that the Federal Executive Council is a quasi-advisory group. But is it effective? They meet once a week. every Wednesday. And then the ministers bring different kinds of memo to the table, and then they debate. But is it effective? I've always wondered how effective it is as a body, as an advisory body to the president. And I ask this question because when you have, for instance, an economic policy, how do you analyze the effect? If you have a planned economic policy, this is what we're going to do. For instance, now, the hot topic on the table, that of removing subsidy.
Yes.
Now, I would expect when you have a kitchen cabinet that is effective, that kitchen cabinet will have top-class economists who will not just come there to tell you blah, 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 blah. No, they will come there with what we call facts and figures. People who will be able to plot graphs. People who will be able to draw out pie charts. People will be able to tell you, if you do this, this will happen to the economy in the next 90 days, in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, in the next 5 years. They should be able to look at that. Now, I know in my heart, even though I've not worked in the presidency, that these things don't happen the way they should happen. That is why somebody like a Emefiele, who is in charge of our monetary policy, can just wake up one day and say, we are introducing new Naira note and you have this window to change. If you don't change it, sorry. And then he goes back, he sees the effect of that policy, and he says, sorry, there's no going back. So that's why I said, within that kitchen cabinet, the president must be very careful. He must listen to what advisors say when they say, do not bring your friends to the villa.
All right, but okay, sorry, but I just want to come in there because, you know, when you say in need to listen to advisors and listen to political and economic advisors, and at the same time make it no bringing friends, but somebody go tell you, say, you guys bring somebody where you fit to trust, you guys work with somebody where you go fit to listen to. What if you find friend who still the competent? You are competent and you're my friend and you're committed to the cause, because the person we go fit to trust to listen to, that one no go work like that.
Let me qualify what I said. When I say don't bring your friends, it does not mean don't bring people you know. That's not what it means. Who is a friend to the president? And who is a friend to Nigeria? If you bring somebody you know, and the person has more loyalty to you than he has to the country, then that would be a harmful friendship. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So even if you bring somebody you know, the question people will always ask is will that person be able to tell you certain things you don't want to hear? That is what we consider the litmus test. Will his friendship interfere with his ability to tell you the truth at every point in time? So if you bring somebody who will pacify you, who will massage your ego, then you are going to have a problem. That is what I mean. So it does not mean that you can normally when you are going to such a place like that,
you need people you can trust.
That understand.
Yes.
People you understand. People you have had some form of. You don't just bring strangers into your kitchen cabin. They will run your presidency down. So you need that element of familiarity. But then, as I said before, with that familiarity, compromise.
What should be done? Principle.
We need compromise principle. If it will compromise principle, then you are going to have a problem. you are going to have a big problem. Because before you even get to the minister, which we'll get to shortly, you must arrange yourself in such a way that you will have an efficient teaching cabinet. Once you get that sorted out, then we can now begin to look at who do you pick as a minister.
All right. So quickly, before we come to who did you, I like how you take Endam. Who did you pick as minister? Because even when we did the newspaper review, something about aviation popped up, and I said I want to know who be the aviation minister. I just get curious. I want to know. You get some ministries where in my mind where I want to know who go there. We will come to that one. But before we come to those ministries and the likely ministers. How about the other appointments? We see how CBN, you see how important the office of the CBN governor is, because one decision or one policy, you see how it will take effect positively or negatively the whole of Nigeria. So important offices, important appointments too, like the CBN governor, like the chief of army staff, chief of defense staff, like the IG of police, like you get some important appointments will not really be part of the Federal Executive Council per se, but now still part of waiting the president need to function well as the president. So make we talk about some of those key appointments now. Waiting go they look in the direction of CBN, and then of course some of those key offices like we don't mention the chief of army staff, chief of defense staff, and the rest of them. Make we talk about those areas. Then we'll come back to the ministers.
Yeah, those are called cabinet level appointments. Okay, and they are the second layer of appointment that the president-elect needs to get right. Number one, there's a man, if you recall, there's a man called Alan Greenspan. I don't know whether you remember that name. He was like the CBN governor or the chairman of Federal Reserve in America. His name alone became an institution because of the knowledge he has about American economy. So when he speaks, the market reacts. Anything he says, the market reacts. So he's a man who does not speak anyhow.
Carelessly, yes.
He's a man who measures his language, who measures his statement, because he knows that if he says the wrong thing, the economy is gone. So if I were the president-elect, my brother, this CBN governor should be history. By May 29, after swearing in fact, by now, president-elect must begin to search excruciatingly. I use that word excruciatingly. He should search with pain who will replace the CBN governor. The CBN governor has not served Nigeria well. He has not served the government of Buhari well. So I'm putting that in quote because there is a relationship between President Buhari and the CBN governor in terms of pro, as they say.
Yes.
He has done a lot of things for the president, which some people have even said are illegal, are against the constitution. So, but generally, he has not served the country well. That is why we are where we are today. So that man needs to go. And somebody who understands what it means to be a CBN governor, what it means to run the fiscal monetary policy of the country, what it means to run our foreign exchange market. We need somebody with a lot of respect, both internally and externally. So that is one. Number two, Inspector General of Police.
Yes,
as you said.
Inspector General of Police, yes.
We are here. We are in a deep security crisis. Now, whether we want to acknowledge that as a reality or we want to wish it away, that's another thing. But I have not seen as much effort as I expect to see from the Inspector General's office. In terms of creativity, I know that we have a lot of constraints. There are monetary constraints, there are infrastructure constraints. Sometimes, EZEMMUO, I wonder how a typical policeman functions. Because they don't really have the resources to function. They don't. I don't even know how they catch criminals. Really, I don't know. Look at the vehicles that they drive around, for God's sake. It's like vehicles that are used to go to farm vehicles.
But I don't even really know why they always like that. The dented vehicles, broken, cracked
vehicles,
headlamps.
No fuel, no headlights. How do you use those kind of vehicles to pursue criminals who are driving jeeps? Look around the world. Look at the kind of vehicles policemen use.
Maybe now then it was the criminals, not the motor dent.
But on a serious note,
yes.
So we need to address the issue of security and security infrastructure. If we don't address that, even if we change the IG to a more responsive person, it might not help us. But I also know that no matter how you are encumbered by infrastructure deficit, you still need to bring some creativity to the table. Do you understand?
Yes.
I have always made this argument that crime, I think it was during one of my sessions with your boss.
Yes.
That made Mr. Bentu.
Yes, Mr. Bentu.
That I made this comment that crime is cheap in Nigeria. It's very cheap to be a criminal in Nigeria. Other places, it is difficult to be a criminal because the law is looking out for you by every means, and the law will get to you. Sometimes 30, 40 years, you are still in the books of the police, and they will get you. That is the way law enforcement functions. But here you can commit a crime at Labour House and go to Jai's Bank just by the corner there, and you'll be eating shawarma there, and nobody will know where you are. Nobody will know who you are. So we have that problem. So it's not just a problem about of changing the IG. We need an IG who is creative, who will look at criminality or the issue of crime with a different perspective. But we also need to support such IG with the right equipment. The same thing with your chief of staff. I mean, your chief of defense staff.
Yes.
Now you know that it is not the issue of internal security. It's not the function of the army. But for the past 20-something years, we have dragged the military. The military is now playing the function of the police.
The police. They can't be like say they need to support the police. They need. You can't be like say yes, they need to support the police.
This will be just support self. They are in charge of internal security right now. And so I wonder, if war breaks out between Nigeria and another country today, what happens? Because the military has been stretched to its limit with internal situation. What happens?
All right.
This is something that the president-elect needs to give very, very careful attention to.
All right. But if you look at all of these appointments, other than the CBN, the IG of police, the chief of army staff, chief of defense staff, which other key appointment where they talk about cabinet level appointments before we come to the cabinet proper? What other key cabinet level appointments, like you call them, where you need to pay attention to and look beyond any other thing to pick the person?
Okay, now we are even looking at this situation from the ground up. We are building the base and we are moving up.
Yes.
The next thing I would like the president-elect to look at, who are the heads of our agencies?
Very important one.
We're talking about heads of agencies now before we move to the ministerial level.
Yes.
I there was the head of an agency who spoke at an international conference in Abuja here. And my brother, people hid their heads under the table and were laughing. They were laughing because it's a very key agency. And this man had no comportment of any kind. He was responding to questions in such a manner that you wonder, how did he become the head of this agency? It was so laughable, it was such an embarrassment. And we have such kind of human beings spread all over our agencies. Now, when ministers take decisions, it is the agencies that will implement those decisions. So when you have human beings who do not even know the importance, the gravity of the position they hold, then what kind of administration are you going to run? Okay, now let's leave the head of agencies. Let's move on to the permanent secretary.
Yes.
Have you ever wondered how a permanent secretary gets posted?
As you talk now,
lobbying going on there.
As you talk now, they wonder. Never really think about them.
Yes. Yeah, now I can tell you without any equivocation that it is about mostly who you know. So you bring somebody, for instance, who does not know his left hand from his right hand, and you put him as permanent secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources. And I am very comfortable with that ministry because I have worked there. So I have seen how they operate. I have seen permanent secretaries who just came and had no idea how a Ministry of Petroleum Resources should function, knowing full well that the ministry is the pulse of the nation. That is where everything happens. How this nation will move forward or not move forward comes from that ministry. Why? Because it is responsible for 90-something% of our earnings. So when you bring a politician there, there's nothing wrong with bringing a politician there. But when you bring somebody who is more knowledgeable about politics than about what we call it now, the day-to-day running of a ministry, they're going to have problems. The same thing with other key ministries. For instance, Ministry of Power.
Yes. So make we come to the ministries now. Because we don't talk about the secretaries and yes, make we come down to the ministries now because now 8:34 be this now. Make we come to get some key ministries. Power, because you don't talk several times for this show. Say energy, the importance of the energy and power, that power energy sector. So that Ministry of Power. Now, somebody like Baba Tunde Raji Fashola, he don't serve there for a while. And we know, say Nahim, him be one of the former governors of Lagos State, and one of the people when they be say if he talks in one of the quote and unquote products of the president-elect. And he don't serve for that ministry. Now, what do they look? They look, say, I don't know. From his performance, you think, say, okay, maybe we can go another ministry. Then who fit handle that kind of ministry? When a very important ministry, what in the minister of, what is the minister we go they in charge of that energy power? And what is that minister supposed to be, or who is supposed to be, or what is supposed to know, what is supposed to do, based on how it be?
You know that, as you just said, and I've emphasized it a million times, two key ministries: Ministry of Power, Ministry of Petroleum Resources. They are the front of the pack because both of them have to do with energy. Now, if you talk about Raji Fashola, a bright star that came from Lagos, I followed the trajectory of his administration, so I can say without any fear that he was a bright star in this administration. But what has happened to him in the last 8 years. I don't know whether you have noticed that his starship has diminished.
Yes, yeah.
His star power has diminished.
Well,
that was why, in the first place, they removed the Ministry of Power from him, and then it wasn't a good idea in the first place to make him a Minister of Power, Housing, and whatever. It was a big mistake, because those are big ministries that demand a lot of energy. So now, anybody who is coming to that Ministry of Power, I want to advise the president-elect, he should think twice, He should think more than twice, because where we were in 2013 and where we are now in 2023, we have gone many miles backward.
Wow.
In terms of how much we are generating, in terms of how much we are consuming. I must tell you, I am continuously amazed that the power sector is still running. I'm amazed it's still running, because I had predicted that it will collapse one day, and I am still predicting it. It will collapse one day, because the model it is running is not sustainable. The biggest losers in the chain are the generating companies. They generate electricity, they are not paid for the electricity they generate. So how they survive, I have no clue. So the distribution companies are just taking electricity from them. Sometimes they even have the luxury of rejecting electricity. Can you imagine that? And that happens all the time. So sometimes you hear them saying that, we are not we are rationing power because we are not getting enough electricity from the company. So what that means, in essence, is that whoever is coming to that ministry should be somebody who has a background in power management. And let me even qualify it. Somebody who has an international background in power management. Now, if you don't get that person who has international background in management, then you need somebody who has a sterling quality in management. Over there, they will tell you, and in the US, they probably be referring to a Yale graduate, a Harvard graduate, somebody who has been...
Yeah, an Ivy Leaguer.
An Ivy Leaguer, yes. And the reason they choose Ivy Leaguers when they come to certain departments and ministries is because they need a top-class thinker, somebody who will stand and think very deeply about issues. So it's not something that the president-elect should play around with. If he plays around with it, come back in 2027 and ask me this same question. I will say, sorry, I don't have any comment.
All right. Now, make we talk about experience, okay? Experience, they're very important, but not only experience, now people go look, now many people just focus only on experience as against what did they try to talk now? If we see somebody we get the experience, for instance, they get some names where they fly around, names like Nasir El Rufai, names like you get some names where they fly around, names even people don't do names like Wiki too, they fly around, say, you know. So experience they okay. But what if you get somebody where no really get the experience but get the character? Now I'm not trying to say that all the names who I don't call they don't get character, but experience versus character, how you go use balance them for this appointment? So I don't know whether I get where they go with this question now.
I get where they go. Let me just cut you short before you walk out far into the bush. forget about character being the premium. Forget about character being the premium. We need somebody with character. Yes, but it is not sufficient. It is required, but not sufficient. My brother, where we dey now as a country, We need hard-boiled, experienced people. We don't need neophytes who don't know what they are doing. We don't need people who will come and learn on the job. Let me tell you, when Obama came into office, you remember the American economy was deep in the toilet. You remember that? We had the economic meltdown that had just happened under George Bush. So when Obama came in, he needed a team that understands the economy. He needed a team that knows the history of the country. That is why, you see, not only here that they recycle people, all over the world, people are recycled, and it's for a reason. It's because these recycled people are those who understand the problem. They understand the problem. So where we did now, not the where we will take one person when he just get learner's permit, then he can't take us do experiment when he don't understand. We don't need to.
All right. Now, okay.
Team,
yes.
We need all the experienced hands we can get. And then plus character. Character is important.
Character is important, but experience, all the experience we can get, they're very important.
At the top of the game.
At the
right
top.
now, yes.
Top. Okay, now make we look other factors before we take maybe one or two calls. Make we look other factors like gender, because the president-elect himself don't come outside to talk, say women, he say young people and women, they featured prominently for in cabinet when he talks. So make we look at those factors: the young people, obviously, and then women, and then talk about religion, because we see how religion takes show for the elections. Somebody they talk, say, in chief of staff and then the secretary to the government of the federation, the SGF, they guys be Christian to balance out the whole thing. Say they guys be Christian. So all of those sentiments and all of those other factors, how they go use play for the appointments?
Number one, I don't like getting into this gender debate. As far as I'm concerned, it's a useless debate, completely useless. And I'll tell you why. I don't see any difference between a man and a woman in terms of capacity to get things done. We are all equally endowed, both men and women. There's a movie I want Nigerians to go and watch. It is called Hidden Figures. I don't know whether you've heard about it.
No, not really.
The Hidden Figures. Go and Google it. The Hidden Figures. It's about the women who made NASA what it is today.
NASA? Is NASA within the job? Which NASA?
NASA.
Oh, NASA.
In America.
Oh, NASA. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
NASA. All right.
They were the women that made it happen. They were the women that put America into space. And what kind of women are we talking about? We're not even talking about white women. They were black women. That's why they were called hidden figures, because nobody wanted to give them credit for what they did. It was only a few years ago that Obama awarded them the highest honor in America for the work they did in the 60s. So let's not be carried away with this debate about women or no women. So in Nigeria, we had to call Joy Weather, right? Was it about gender when she was appointed? No. She was appointed because she had capacity.
Competent, she was qualified.
She was competent and she delivered. We had this head of NAFDAC from
Dora Akunyili from Anambra. Late Mrs. Dora Akunyili.
Dr. Dora Akunyili. May God bless that woman.
Yes.
She was not brought because of gender balancing. She was brought in because she had competence and she delivered. Today, when we hear NAFDAC, because of that woman. You understand? So, for me, that's a non-issue. Go and look for any woman wherever that woman is that has capacity and bring her
into the cabinet.
Bring her into the cabinet.
Anybody that can get the job done.
Okay, now let's go to religion.
But young people, how about young people? Before we go to religion, would they see young people for parliament as 26-year-old girl for Kwara and all of that?
Let me shock you. Let me shock you. Whether you are talking about the presidency of Nixon, or you are talking about Barack Obama, or you are talking about George Bush, or you are talking about who else is there, Bill Clinton. Most of the initial people that got their administration started were in their 30s. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Yes, I heard.
They were in their 30s. Yes. And meanwhile, some of these presidents were in their 40s. Do you understand? They were in their 40s. So look at that combination. Look at that powerful combination. The youths have the energy to play. They have the energy to innovate. So it is not also about just bringing youths in. Are these youths trained? Are they properly trained people? Are they cooked? When I say cooked, do they have a history?
Yes. The potential, the competence.
The potential, the competence. For instance, today, when you look at music, young musicians are ruling the world, are they not?
Yes.
So, in politics, in economics, in agriculture, in energy, go and look for those young people that have proven their worth. Or you seek competence in their lives. Because it's not all about experience also. Everybody has to start work somewhere at some time. So you need the young people. The young people are the custodian of energy. These are the people who can take a cup of coffee and work for 19 hours, 20 hours. We need them.
Custodian of energy.
So the president-elect, the president-elect should not pay lip service to bring in youth and then go and bring one riffraff from somewhere because the person is a politician or son of a politician.
All right.
If you do that, you have killed yourself.
All right, Safil, before we come to that issue of religion, I would like to take 1 or 2 calls quickly. Just hold on there. And make I just take 1 call, then we'll go come back to that subject of religion. Hello, who did this side?
Good morning.
Yes, make we take 1 or 2 calls before we go back to Safai Lemon Ajekuko.
Mr. Velema, good morning. I love your vast knowledge. I enjoy your conversation. You say that is just a roadmap to this administration. But come to look at it, I don't think that this administration will do that because especially APC, all these APC, since they ascended to power since they took over from Jonathan. They have not been working, all the governors.
You say whether they will do what? You say whether they will do what exactly?
I don't think that the APC government in general can do that. What the Ogafelemon is talking so.
You don't think they can do it?
Yeah, I don't think. Because number one, the other day, this president to one of the places for rally, they were telling them that they should bring money and they should contribute to into the administration so that they can be part of the administration. So this type of person that you go and select people. If they can do it, they can key to what he's saying now, what the government is saying now, it will be very good. But you can see why people protested, why people came out from this administration, election, that presidential election, mostly that they want to change APC because APC has not been working both in state.
All right.
Both in state and federal. Yeah, that is what was the reason. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Samuel, for that one we don't talk this morning. All right, make I just take this call, then we'll go back to Safi. Hello, who did decide quickly? Last caller. Hello.
Hello, EZEMMUO, good morning.
Quickly, who they talk? You get 10 seconds. 10 seconds, quickly.
The man who spoke there, he spoke well.
Yes.
All what we are praying for the incoming president, if you look at the department where some people have taken as their own landlord, or some people who are lobbying to defend FCC as their own legislative right, or EFCC, let him change all these places to this free zone. We need peace in Nigeria. We don't need where people will be trying to manipulate some people, petrol, everything like the house of Fulani.
All right. Thank you so much for that one. Back to you, Sir Philemon. I just to make I take those fools done the balls. Just to make I take one or two calls. Now back to you. I'm not going to talk about religion. Yeah, at least you hear within Issa Chukwu from Massacre allude to the issue of tribe. Say House of Fulani. Some people feel like they're the landlord and all of that. So we use one stone kill two birds. Address the issue of religion and ethnicity inside of this whole appointment talk quickly.
Both of them are killer issues. You know, I feel very uncomfortable when people bring religion and tribal issues into nation building. Whereas they are sensitive issues. But what have they really done for us? This religious balancing that we are talking about. When you appraise something, you appraise it from the point of view of what it has done for you. So what has this religious balancing done for us? Now, I make this argument in some of my write-ups. Every president of this country has been either a Muslim or a Christian. True or false?
True. No, not true.
Now, look at Nigeria from 1960 to now. These two religions have dominated the presidency. Now, here we are in 2023. What is the state of the nation? What is the state of the nation? Now, if religion is something that should build you as a strong human being, that will build you, that will build your character, that will make you a strong person in the service of nation and in the service of God. Can you truly say, as you sit down in that studio this morning, that religion has served us well? Can you sincerely say that? Think about how, only this morning, I read that $1 million traced to the former Minister of Petroleum Resources, right?
Yes.
In the US. It was carried in Premium Times. I don't know whether you saw it, the headline. It's not speculation, it's money that they have held on to as proceeds of crime. The Zani is a Christian. Is she not a Christian?
She's a Christian now.
Okay. Now look at the Accountant General, who is accused of 80 billion naira worth of fraud. Is he not a Muslim? Then let's look at Abacha, whose loot, I don't know whether he finished Nigeria, because the team know they finish. Every day
the loot is still coming in.
They loot for 20-something years. We have been discovering his loot. He was a Muslim. So between Islam and Christianity, you can say all the tragedy of this nation can be aggregated at the foot of those two religions. So what are we saying?
Okay, so in essence, because of time, even the chief of staff, the appointment, even if he gets the chief of staff as a Muslim, he gets the secretary to the federal government as a Muslim, the CBN governor as a Muslim, it don't really matter.
For me, as an individual, I don't give a hoot. I don't give a hoot.
As long as he didn't do the job.
What I want to see is that when I go out tomorrow, there are no queues at the fuel station. What I want to see is that the refineries are working. As I told you before, I would like my kids to work in a place like a refinery where you do nothing and earn so much. That's what I want to see. So people will appeal to this ethnic balancing, we appeal to this religious balancing and all that. Oh, let's be sensitive and all that. It means we are not even thinking about the state of our country. We are more interested in seeing that balancing act because it pacifies us psychologically. Oh, I have a Muslim there. He's my brother. I have a Christian there. He's my brother.
He's my brother. All right, though, because of time, Sarsil, just finally, we get like in the next 30, 40 seconds, make you just round up the whole conversation. What do you go consider as the central takeaway from inside of this matter? We consign waiting the president-elect need to do to pick him men. So that will go come out quickly this morning.
There's a word that they use. They say, be of sound mind. Be of sound mind. Once you are of sound mind, you will take the right decision. And the right decision will move the country forward.
Sound mind.
You have defect. Yes. Once you have defect in your mind, that defect will escalate into your decisions. And those decisions, bad decisions, will escalate into economic crisis. So, as Moses told the Israelites, there are two ways: the ways of life and the ways of death.
All right.
Whichever we want to choose, let us choose.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Philemon Ajakuko, Economics Public Affairs Analyst Sabiman. Thank you so much for all your time as you take the beat.
You're welcome.
All right, so now we'll take the Pakungongo and then Janja. If I don't pick your call, no vex. I see your message. Caller say, Chief Priest, good morning. I think Nigeria needs to know to work on our thoughts and the way we choose words when we are reacting to issues and try to be a little bit move away from negative lives. If someone can start saying people can't get justice when the case is still in court, it's worrisome to me. All right, thank you, caller, for that one. We don't talk 2 minutes before 9 o'clock. Make we do them again tomorrow on Top Super Citizen at Sunrise. They call me the Chief Priest. Anyhow, when you take me, what did Nigerians want? Now forward movement. The cabinet we go move us forward. Now what do we define? Enjoy yourself. 9 o'clock with the inside of the newsroom. No Torture Radio. This one now Citizen FM 93.7. They call me the Chief Priest. Good morning to you there.
Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM, the latest radio station based in Nigeria's capital. Our station seeks to broadcast a broad mix of culture and views with priority given to development programming to enable residents share ideas and opinions, music and drama. At Citizen FM, we believe in progressive talk and solution-driven conversation. Our aim is to build a united Nigeria by bringing people of diverse culture together through communication. Enjoy listening to 93.7 Citizen FM. We are more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
This is 93.7 Citizen FM, Abuja.
If you check the time now, 9 o'clock, don't stand attention for their go-go.
Time for news on the hour.
All the things where they stop around the world, we want cut and drop.